guys, so today we're going to get back to working on the old C10. It's been a while since we got to do anything to it. You've seen in the last episodes we started working on the engine, got the engine running. That we need to do a little bit more work with the wiring harness and stuff, but we'll finish that up once we get the engine in the truck itself. But right now what we want to do today is we want to get the front clip taken off. I got a different set of fenders and a different grill to go on it. Also, we're going to eventually pull the front cross member off, drop that whole assembly down with the control arms and everything. I got a different set from a 1972 Chevy pickup that's got disc brakes on it, and it's 5-lug. So we also got a set of 5-lug axles for the GM 12 bolt in the back. But we're wanting to do that, but we're wanting to get it down to the bare frame so we can go through, sandblast it, paint the chassis and everything, get it all rust protected, and then we'll start putting it back together with our new fenders and stuff like that. So right now what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start getting this front clip off. So we're going to start by pulling the headlight bezels. Now we're going to pull the hood latch. Maybe. Alright guys, so now we're going to get our headlights out. Alright guys, so we're working on getting this bumper off. We got the bolts on this side off, but these carriage bolts over here are spinning. So, honestly, they're all mixed up. Somebody's put this bumper on, and why, I don't know, because it's pretty rough shape. But, so half of these are just regular carriage bolts from your hardware store, and then some of them are the actual chromed ones. They're all mixed matched. What we're going to do, we're going to cut them off because they're just spinning. We can't get to the back side of them. Some of them are really rusty too, so we're just going to go ahead and cut them off. So alright, so after a little bit of work with the grinder and a little bit of love from the big hammer, I think we're about ready to come off here. Maybe just one tap with the hammer, it should come off. Oh, close. That is how you remove a bumper. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and get this grill off of here. Should be pretty easy. I think it's just about 4 bolts that should come off. Alright, so we got the grill off. On these old trucks, always remember, keep your cutting tools handy, because it always seems like they never want to come apart and you always got stripped out bolts. So That was the case back here. One of these top bolts, it came halfway out and stopped and just started spinning. So just cut it out. You know, we're going in with a different set of fenders, a different grill, stuff like that. I made sure to save the grill. The old one wasn't in too bad a shape. We just got one that matches the right patina of this truck. So the red didn't really match for me. I didn't really like that. But anyway, so now we're going to go ahead and start pulling our fenders off, and we'll go from there. So to get our fenders off here, we're going to have to take this cowling off. So we'll go ahead and take our wiper arms off and stuff and then get this cowling off. Alright, so now we can get back to taking our fender off. Alright, so now we're going to take our 2 bolts out and take our core support off. It's about the only thing we got left on this front end. Alright, so now we got it all stripped down, and we can get it all cleaned up, painted, get the engine set in here real nice and easily. This just makes everything way easier, especially since we're changing the fenders anyways. So now on to the inside. Alright guys, so what we're going to do in here is we want to get this gas tank out. We have a new idea for fuel tank, and I'm not gonna ruin the surprise. You guys will see it later in later episodes. It's gonna be really cool, and it's gonna really match the whole rat rod look. So, and really, we want more room in the cab for stuff behind the seat. Maybe we want to slide the seat back a little bit farther. So we're gonna try to make a little bit more room in the cab here. So we're not gonna go with this factory tank. We're probably gonna block the hole off to the cab and everything. So right now I'm just going to work on getting this tank out. Looks like seat belts are holding it down, so I'm going to yank these seat belts off and then I'll come back. Alright, I had to switch sides. Tank needs to come out the passenger side here to get past the filler neck over there. But we went ahead and zipped the seat belts here out. These are not factory seat belts. I don't think they had seat belt warnings in 1968. So somebody's put these seat belts in. It looks like they're out of maybe like a square body or something like that. We're probably gonna go with a different seatbelt setup anyways, so those are going to be trashed. We're mainly trying to get down to the floor, that way we can start making our patch panels to fix this floor, and we might end up ordering a floor kit for this to just get the panels pre-made, prefabbed, so we can just cut out and put in what we need to put in. But for now, we just need to get this tank out and see what we're working with here. Aha. got the tank out. This little bracket on the floor, not sure what it's for. It was what was holding us up. Actually, it was this one right here. I'm not sure what the little bracket's for, but it was holding us up. But we got that out of there, and now we got the tank out. Alright guys, so we've made a concerning discovery. If you look, this front driver's side frame rail is bent. Right here. That should not be that close to that gearbox. This side is just a little tweaked, but it's just on these front frame horn sections. You can see where it wrinkled the frame right there. So I have an idea to fix this. We could cut this and try to pull it out and straighten it back up. That's gonna be real hard to do. I have this other frame section right here, and it's just the front frame horns is all it is that I'm gonna cut off and patch it back onto my bent one. All this is really gonna do is straighten up the front clip, and it'll straighten the bumper out. You can see the bumper support's bent too. This truck had a red fender, so now we know why. It had been hitting the front end. I'd already measured from here to back there and there to back there, and the frame's straight from this cross member back. So we're just gonna cut the front half of the frame off right here and replace it. Alright guys, so before we can fix this bent frame here, we're gonna have to go ahead and take this front cross member out, take the gearbox off, undo our steering shaft. So right now I'm gonna work on getting all that done. Alright guys, so after a little persuasion with the old grinder, we cut all the bolts off that are holding this front cross member on. So now we're ready to jack the frame up and roll the cross member out from underneath the truck. Alright, now we're down to the bare frame. Alright guys, so we got our frame all marked up. We're going to go ahead and chop off this front frame section. We are in front of the cross member. The cross member it goes right here. So we're not really messing with any of the geometry of the frame itself. We've already checked it. It's just the damages. The damage is actually right in here, and we're coming just on this side of the damage. So we're going to cut all this crinkled part out and weld on our new frame. Had to get something to support it. Alright, so now we got the front half of our frame cut off. Now we're gonna go ahead and cut the other piece that we got, and we're gonna cut it exactly the same. We got our measurements right here that we made, so we can cut another piece exactly the same to match right up. We'll get our surfaces cleaned up and we'll weld them back together. Alright guys, so we got it all leveled out and tacked up. Now we're just gonna have to go ahead and finish welding it. Fit up pretty good, a lot of grinding, a lot of come back and cut a little bit off at a time, and then we got it all squared up. So now we just need to weld it out. Alright guys, so we got the other side welded out. Now we're gonna go out and weld this side. Alright, so we got it all welded out. Now we're going to go back through and clean it all up with the grinder. I'll spare you guys that. It's kind of a boring process. And then we'll cut some fish plates and weld on the inside of the frame just for a little bit extra strength. Where we cut the frame, it's not really too structural. All it does is hold the front clip on. We cut it in front of the front cross member, so none of the suspension or anything like that's going to be messed with. We checked it, made sure everything was good and square before we welded it. Basically, what was going on before, the hood didn't set right and the front fenders were kind of cocked sideways a little bit, and that was because of the wreck in the front end on this. So basically all we did was just change the front frame horns. Pretty simple little deal. We could have straightened them. I don't have a torch, and I had this extra frame laying around, and this one has the sway bar mounts on it. I'd really like to run the sway bar on the other front end, so that's why we decided to do this route. This probably, I wouldn't say is the preferred way to fix it, but it works in a pinch like us. So I mean, really, for what we have into it, it's not a bad deal. This was the easiest way to fix it. But now we'll get it grinded out, and I'll come back to you. Alright guys, so we got it all ground down, and we went ahead and threw a coat of black paint on it just under where the cross member is going to set. As you can tell, you can't even really see on the outside of the frame rail where we welded it, where we patched it in and welded it. We did come through on the inside. I don't know if you can see that, but we put a little fish plate in there just to give it a little bit extra strength. Did one on both sides and ground it down, but looks pretty good. You can't even really tell that we welded the front frame horn section in. So we went ahead and sprayed some paint over where power steering box is going to go and stuff. Here in a couple weeks, we're going to pull the cab off and we're going to sandblast the frame and go ahead and paint it. And when we do that, we'll do our brake lines and stuff. Hey guys, so it's been a few months. By a few, I mean like probably 4 or 5. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's been a while. All right. So as you can see, we're in a new shop. I had a new shop built. So this is the new home of Bigger Jobs Garage. Built it right in my backyard. It's just a small little 24 by 24 shop. But, you know, it'll be perfect. We also got a new shop dog. This is Rosa. She's a Great Dane. She's gonna get way bigger. She's only 5 months old right now, I think. And she's like knee height. So she's gonna be a big dog. Well, see, it looks a little different than last time you guys seen it. Last time you seen it, it was just down to the bare frame rail. We got a new front end put under it. Well, I mean, new to us, I guess. It's still pretty old, but anyways, it's disc brake and stuff, and we ended up finding a set of drop spindles and drop springs. They were takeoffs. Found them on the old marketplace. Only gave like $400 for the whole kit. There's the new shop dog Rosa. And we got a whole bunch of parts here. We got new sway bar end links and a whole bunch of other stuff. We got brake lines, ball joints, everything to put this front end together and freshen it all up. So we're gonna go ahead and get that done. So we're gonna go ahead and start ripping these wheels off. As you can see, these tires have seen better days, but I do have a new set of tires and wheels. Pretty cool. Got a pretty good deal on the wheels and tires. Another marketplace find. This whole truck is basically built from marketplace. I really don't have a lot of money wrapped up into this truck, and I'm not going to. We're still sticking to the whole budget theme. Budget LS, budget transmission. A lot of stuff came out of the junkyard, marketplace, stuff like that. So we're still sticking with this whole budget thing. We have splurged on a few small things, but like this whole suspension kit, it was about a $1,400 or $1,500 suspension kit. And I got it from a guy on marketplace for $450, and pretty good deal. I mean, if you shop around, you can build these trucks, these cars. You can build Novas, all kinds of stuff. You can find these parts everywhere. A lot of guys are still building them, and so a lot of guys have extra parts laying around. But anyway, so we're gonna get to ripping these tires off. We want to try to get this front end tore down the best we can, and start throwing our new stuff together. These rotors and spindles, they're brand new. They don't have any miles on them. They got a little bit of surface rust on them just from sitting around. The guy had them sitting outside. Not really sure what the deal was. I was told that the guy put them all on and then decided he wanted to do a full custom race chassis. So he tore all these parts back off, and I don't know. We're gonna make sure it's all right. Everything's good. It all looks good. It all looks brand new, and we'll go from there. But we're gonna start tearing this apart. So follow along, guys. That ain't gonna work. Not the right size. It's always the last one you grab. They're dangerous. Alright, so got the tires off. Now we're just gonna go ahead and start tearing this thing down. I'm going to take the tie rod ends off and split that apart, and I'll get my jack in under here, and I'm going to take the top ball joint loose and just swing it down and out of the way. That way the spring will come down and out, and we'll just start putting new stuff on. Pull the cotter pin out, and then might be the same size as the lug nuts. Oh, sure enough it is. Hammer out. while we have all this apart, I am going to be checking the tie rod ends, check to make sure they're in good shape. As long as they're in good shape, we'll reuse them. If they're worn out, then we'll go ahead and order a new set. But while we had it all apart, I wanted to go ahead and definitely put new ball joints in. These ones look original, so we'll go ahead and get them changed out. But these here brake lines, we are going to be replacing them, so I'm just going to go ahead and snip the old lines. Just look in here and get that out of the way. If I can get it cut, these old rubber brake lines seen better days for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this top ball joint loose first, and I'll get the jack underneath there, keep tension on the spring. I want to keep tension on the spring so we don't kill ourselves. Go. There we go. The old cotter pins don't want to come out. But we're not asking anymore. Gotta be patient with these old rusty front ends. They'll come out when they want to come out. Alright. Take some of the pressure off of it. There we go. Popped right apart. Now, when you guys do that at home, I recommend not doing it that way. The right way would be to put a spring compressor on here, compress that spring, and then it doesn't jump apart like that. But if you're like me, you want to do it the quick way, unbolt it, make sure your jack's under there or it's going to hurt you. Put your jack under there, a little pressure off, give it a couple smacks right there on the spindle right here, and it'll pop right apart. We're all good. But it is a dangerous way to do it, but it works. So now we got a little bit more access down here. We can get this cotter pin out down here, get it all smacked apart, get our spring out. Should be good stuff. And if you guys are interested in learning more about the shop, the process of building the shop, how I did it, I did it pretty cheap. I didn't do it all myself. I did a lot of the work myself though. I did hire a guy to do the concrete and build it and stuff like that. But if that's something you guys would be interested in, I can do a video to go over all the costs and everything. And we're still not quite done with it. We do need insulation. I have a little diesel heater in here right now. It's not that cold today, but the diesel heater doesn't do well enough without the shop being insulated. It really needs insulation, and it'd stay warmer. None of those. That is the right size, I think. This cotter pin has decided to become one with this ball joint, so bear with me. We're not asking anymore. Is the whole thing spent? No, I think we're working her loose. About there. Luckily, the whole thing is just spinning. Get out the old pickle fork. There we go. Alright, all that out. Alright, so now we can work on putting our new ball joints in, getting all this stuff cleaned up. Take a wire wheel, clean most of that stuff up. Our control arm bushings seem to be good shape, they don't have any play in them. So I think we can get away with just changing the ball joints for now, and obviously the sway bar bushings are junk, but I think we'll be able to just grease these up real good and they'll work. These ones are riveted, so I'll have to cut these rivets off. And we should be able to get the upper ones out. The lower ones should just drive in. Yeah, they're just pressed in. Get those pounded out and get the new ones in. Alright guys, so I had to take a break for a second and just beat the ever-living crap out of this thing. And I finally got it out. Those factory ball joints, you gotta snip the head of the rivets off and then just start swinging a hammer. I mean, I got a ball joint press, but these C10 ball joints, the upper ones, they're kind of odd. So, a lot different than modern stuff, I guess. It's not really that they're odd, it's just they're different than the modern ball joints. So now we got this top one out. We're gonna go through with the wire wheel, clean all this up real good. Then we're gonna get the bottom one drove out. Rosa, she's probably tired of the beating and banging in here already, but we'll get her used to it. So, yeah, we're gonna work on getting it all cleaned up now. Alright, so now I'm gonna come in here. I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of black spray paint. We're gonna paint the frame and the control arms and everything later, but I just want to come in and get down in here at some of the hard to reach spots and underneath the ball joint just to help prevent a little bit of rust. Then I'm gonna put the new ball joint in. So let me go grab some paint real quick. Alright, so I went ahead and hit it with a little red oxide primer. Like I said, I mean, it's still kind of dirty in here and stuff. We are gonna repaint this whole frame and everything later. So I was just kind of trying to get something on some of the hard to reach spots. I'm going to come back in with some black. The whole frame's going to be painted black. I'm going to try something new that I've never tried before. I got a gallon of the farm implement paint. This is actually primer for the farm implement paint. Rust-Oleum makes it. I've heard of guys using it on frames, and it's supposed to dry real hard and be real tough and doesn't flake off, and it prevents rust real well. I mean, I've painted tractors with it before and stuff, and it's worked great on tractors. So we're gonna try it on the frame of this truck. So it's just you can spray it if you want, but I'm just gonna brush it on the frame and see how it turns out. If it's crap, then we're gonna go through and sandblast it off and start over. But I'm gonna try it and see. It'll be a cheap budget paint job on the frame, I guess. This frame is really not that rusty. It's got some scaling here and there, but not nothing like a northern truck. So what we're gonna do now is we got this bottom one raised up. I pulled the grease cap off, or the dust cap off, and we're just gonna smack it a couple times with a hammer, see if we can't get it to come out. And if I can't, then I'll break out the ball joint tool. But I think we can just smack it a couple times and it'll probably come out. So remember safety glasses. I mean, you want to keep the peepers good. As you see, I did have to break out the ball joint press. I got it arranged in the most inconvenient way possible, but this is the way it's working. So can't get an impact on it right here. So we're just gonna start cranking on it and see what happens. I mean, it might pop, it might not. Our tool might break. We're just gonna see what happens. Hopefully, it looks like it's coming out. Like I said, these have been in there for quite a while, so. Oh yeah, we're moving. Good deal. Look at that. You know, when you want to be lazy and just hit it with a hammer, that doesn't always work. And as you can see in this case, that was way easier than beating the crap out of it with a hammer. So, Harbor Freight ball joint press works, guys. I don't think I paid very much for it. I've only used it a handful of times because, like I said, I normally just beat them out. But in this case, man, it's worth it. Go ahead and zip those old sway bar bushings out. If we can get on here and get them out. Yep, they got nuts on the backside. Broke loose. You know, you'd think a guy would be better at guessing bolt sizes, but I'm really not that good at that. By the way, guys, I really need to come up with a name for the truck. So if you guys could help me come up with a name, comment the name, whatever you guys think. I'm just kind of at a loss with it. Whoever comes up with a name, I'll send you a Bigger Jobs Garage t-shirt. Whoever has, or it gets the winning name, I'll send you a t-shirt and maybe some stickers or something. We'll make it worth your while. Go ahead and give this a coat. Like I said, we're not going for no show quality. We're just kind of hitting it so it don't rust, hitting the hard to reach spots. For now, that's what we'll do, just that. Come back in with some black. not be coming back in with some black. This is the only black spray can I have. And it's gummed up. It's completely gummed up. Yep, well, we're just gonna be doing red for now. We'll have to come back in with some actual paint and paint it later on. My spray can selection's kind of dwindled. I had a whole bunch, but between moving shops and stuff and moving from the garage on the house out here to this big garage, it's been kind of hard to keep all my stuff straight, but we're working on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw in an upper ball joint. Let's go on the top or the bottom. Moving that. I'll find the right size eventually. Now on suspension stuff like this, I like to come back through with a ratchet. Just make sure got it all tight. You know there is a torque spec, and it's pretty easy to Google that. So when you do it on yours, go ahead and Google it. Me, I'm just gonna put it together. Alrighty, top one's done. Now, let's check the bottom one. I think our paint's dry enough now that we can get the bottom one in. I'm sure that's in the instructions to not do that. Alrighty. Ball joint installed. Wasn't too bad. Definitely recommend using a ball joint press. So we're going to go ahead and set our new one right down here on it. torque to spec. Up a little bit more with it. I'm excited to see how this thing sits with these springs. It's kind of an unknown of what springs exactly they are. The guy said it's set low. The truck that they were on set really low. So, alright, we're off the jack stand now. There's a lot of grease inside that. Go ahead and throw this here on. I don't know, we're gonna give it a try. Maybe. Perfect. Oh man. Nothing's loose, everything's good and tight. Cotter pin time. And greaser. I have to find my grease gun to grease these. What I'm doing here, if you've never done ball joints, I'm going to show you. Ball joints have a castle nut. Just a little nut that has grooves cut in it. When you thread it in, there's a hole, which this one's not a very good one to show you. This one's a little better. The threads, there's a hole in the threads here. So when you thread your nut all the way down, you run a cotter pin through there and it locks your nut. It's just a locking mechanism basically, so your castle nuts won't fall off. Pretty much all suspension parts have castle nuts on them, and it's just to protect you from the nuts falling off. You don't get them tight enough or whatever, stuff rattles loose and works and rattles itself loose over time. So you got to put those on. I mean, you have to. You'll end up in a lot of trouble if you don't. You'll end up losing part of your steering or something like that, and that's just, it's a recipe for disaster. That's what that is. So these old tie rod ends, what I'm doing is I'm just wiping them out real good. I'm gonna put fresh grease in them. The boots aren't torn or anything, so we're gonna run them. This will be later down the road. We'll definitely put new tie rod ends on it, but for now, we're just gonna run the old ones. Cause as of right now, there ain't no play in them. Where's my wrench? Where's this? Nope. Maybe? Oh yeah. All right. So we got the one side done. All right, guys. So now we're gonna get started on this other side over here. Pretty much same deal as the other side. So you know, I'm just gonna zip through it, and there'll probably be a time lapse. So let's get started on it. All right, guys. So we got everything installed. We went ahead and greased all the little grease fittings on it. Like I said, we are going to come back and paint this all black eventually. Right now we're just wanting to stop the rust. So, but yeah, we got it all put together, got all the fittings greased. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but it sits low now. Let me show you the wheels and tires that we're going to be putting on them. Just good old steel wheels. Somebody, I got them from a guy off a marketplace. It's kind of cool. He had these center caps custom made. He had them on a like a 94 OBS truck, and it was a pace truck clone. So it's pretty cool, but the truck looks really good now. I mean, it sets real low in the front, and the back is going to come down a lot. So we still got to do the back. We got a set of drop springs and set of C-notches to put in. But for now, we're just starting with that. Well, guys, that's pretty well going to do it for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, that helps. Like the video. Throw me a couple comments. Remember, comment a name. We need a name for this old pickup. So shoot me a name, and if I like it, I'll send you a t-shirt and some stickers or something like that. We'll make it worth your while for sure. Also, don't forget, I do have an Instagram. It's Bigger Jobs Garage. Go ahead and follow that. I've been trying to work with social media a little bit more and actually get stuff posted and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you, guys.